In 2019, brands were spending an average of $9 to acquire a new customer. In 2024, which is literally just 5 years, brands are now spending more than triple at $29 per new customer acquired. Ads are becoming more expensive, they're becoming more competitive, and your customers are getting hit with thousands of them every single day. So unless you have infinite dollars that you don't mind sending Zuckerberg's way, your paid ads are never going to scale if you're only focused on acquiring new customers. You need a new strategy, right? You need to focus on people who are going to spend 60 to 70% more with your brand and are actually more likely to purchase again from your brand. In this video, we're going to talk about the secret to actually scaling your paid ads, and that is customer retention. So let's get into it. So your paid ads, which is not going to scale without this. So what is customer retention? Put simply, customer retention is the practice of keeping your existing customers engaged and keeping them satisfied to keep purchasing from your brand. The higher your customer retention, the more customers are going to purchase from your brand, and the more customer purchases from your brand, the higher the customer lifetime value, or CLTV, is going to be. So customer lifetime value is broken down into three very simple parts, which is firstly, how much does someone buy with your brand? Or like how big are their carts when they actually purchase from you? Next, it's going to be how often someone buys. So do they buy every 1 year? Do they buy every week? And how long do they keep buying for? Which is going to be, do they buy for a year? Do they buy for 10 years? These are the numbers we want to pay attention to. So let's imagine the following scenario here, which is we've got two businesses. On the left side, we've got One and Done Enterprises. And on the right, we've got old mate Apu from Quickie Mart. So again, focusing on average order value, you can see here for One and Done Enterprises, they've got an average order value of about $50 versus whoever's shopping at Quickie Mart. They like their big shops. They like buying all the milk, all the protein bars, everything that's possibly expensive that you can get at a convenience store. And they are spending $75 with every purchase. Next, you can see here at One and Done Enterprises, customers only purchase once a year versus at Quickie Mart, it is a convenience store, so you might pop in every now and again. So customers will spend on average, or will purchase on average 3 times a year from Quickie Mart. And finally, this is just we're going to keep equal, which is both customers typically will be a customer at each of these businesses for about 3 years. Now, what do the stats say? The customer lifetime value of One and Done Enterprises is $150, and the customer lifetime value for Quickie Mart is going to be $675. This means that every customer is more than 4 times as valuable to Quickie Mart over One and Done Enterprises. And now Apu is going to be really ecstatic about that. So obviously, just looking at these numbers, right? Quickie Mart is the more profitable, they're the more sustainable business. And because his customer retention is higher, Apu can now spend more aggressively on ads. He can now outbid his competitors for ad space, and he can invest into higher quality ads. And he can do all of this while still being more profitable than his competitors. And you can see here, he's having a little bit of a party. I think that's his dad that I remember. So if customer retention is so crucial to scaling ads, then why do so many businesses actually struggle to achieve it? So here's what 97% of e-commerce businesses that can never scale their paid ads are doing wrong. So if any of these sound familiar, you might want to probably solve some of these, which is number one, focusing on marketing over your product. Because there's too many businesses that focus purely on their marketing over actually just making good products that people want. So when you buy a really, really delicious burger, what do? You probably save that spot as like a favorite on Google Maps. You might take a photo, you might post it on your Insta story, you might tag your mates there, you might tag their location. And if you're like me, you're probably going to go for a drive at 11 p.m. with your mates, or maybe you'll grab your partner to go grab another one. And when you buy a really, really shitty burger, what do? You probably never ever buy from them again. You probably actively tell your mates to never waste their money at that place. And you probably start to question the ingredients that are inside your burger. You're like, is this even like real beef, or is this even real chicken or whatever? So to retain your customers, you first actually need to have good products. So if you're drop shipping from AliExpress or Temu, you're already playing the game on hard mode. Good luck with that. Next is constantly chasing new customers, because businesses often believe that the key to growth is endlessly chasing new customers. Now, this isn't just expensive, but it's also just going to be super unsustainable. Because new customer acquisition, it typically costs more than 5 times than retaining your existing customers, and focusing solely on new customers can drain your resources super quickly. So how would your business look if you focused on retention instead? Now, this is a graph that I got straight from Shopify. So if you ain't going to believe me, at least believe the platform that you're hosting your store on. But you can see here on the x-axis at the bottom, we've got time, and on the y-axis, we've got revenue. Now, the metric that we're actually comparing here is a 5% retention rate versus a 10% retention rate, both of which, by the way, is actually quite low. But you can see here, the business with a 5% retention rate, 2 years, it's actually going to keep pretty much on par with the business with double the retention rate at 10%. But as time goes on, especially over to 60 months or 5 years, you can start to see the difference really showing, which is over 5 years, the business with 5% retention rate only generates 20% revenue from its repeat customers versus the business with 10% retention rate generates $300,000 in revenue from repeat customers. So again, a small change of retention leads to big results in the long term, which is what I'm assuming you're gunning for if you are starting a business. Number 3, neglecting customer experience. So after you've made the sale, it's all done, it's all dusted. No, it's not. Businesses really underestimate the importance of the overall customer experience. And that's going to include every single touch point that a customer has with your brand, even after the sale is complete. So this isn't just your customer service, right? This is going to include like your product delivery, your product experience. This is going to include you feeling a part of the community. And this is going to include you having like the most amazing post-purchase support. Because any negative experience at any of these touch points, this is the type of stuff that leads to customer dissatisfaction, and that is going to churn your customers. This is why your luxury brands like Chanel, like Gucci, like Prada, like Dior, they have exclusive events for customers that have spent over 6 figures with them, because they know that retaining their best customers, where actually most of their revenue is going to come from, this ultimately comes down to the experience that they can offer to their best customers. So these mistakes, they lead to a super common, but honestly a business ending problem for a lot of brands. And that is the silent killer of brands, one-time purchases. So on one hand, you've got a new purchase. It's great. You've got a new customer in your ecosystem. Your name is getting out there. You feel busy because like you're sending out deliveries, you're making packages. But on the other hand, after you start to account for things like the cost of ads, the cost of your products, the cost of your overheads, the cost of actually paying yourself and your staff, you've probably barely broken even on acquiring this customer, only for them to just straight out like just dip forever. Right? So are you starting to see the issue here? Because you can't actually fill a leaky bucket, right? Trying to scale up your paid ads without having a customer retention strategy is literally filling up a leaky bucket, because you can forever try to fill up that bucket by endlessly chasing new customers. But at the end of the day, if you're not making an effort to actually keep your customers once they're in, your total customer base remains the same. So here you've got new customers coming in. Here's your total customer base. And here's the holes that you've got in your leaky bucket where you're just losing customers. So one-term buyers, they don't contribute at all to your long-term growth. So how do we turn this around and fix this leaky bucket? And this is where we introduce your personal goldmine, which is your existing customer base. So now you might be asking, Don, are my existing customers really that much better than new customers? And this is probably like the one good thing that I actually learned from uni, which is breaking down the stats and actually finding the source to back those stats up. So let's break them down. Firstly, businesses have a 60 to 70% chance of selling to an existing customer compared to just 5 to 20% for a new prospect. Now, this is actually from Forbes, who are quoting the book Marketing Metrics. Repeat customers spend 67% more than new customers. This is BIA Advisory Services. Small e-commerce businesses generate 35% of the revenue from the top 5% of low repeat customers. Now, let me just repeat that. you will generate a third of your business's total revenue from 5% of your customer base. After a third purchase, the likelihood of a customer buying again increases to 62%. And lastly, 39% of customers are willing to spend more with a brand that they're loyal to, even if there are cheaper options available on the market. Now, probably the best example in the world of this is literally just Apple. Apple understands this best because through customer retention, Apple is now the world's first $1 trillion business. But this isn't even just all the benefits of focusing on your own customers, because there is a lot more. So not only do your existing customers spend more with your business, but they also don't need you to reacquire them on expensive channels like Facebook or Instagram, right? You've already paid the Facebook tax or the Zuckerberg tax, as I like to call it, to acquire this customer. So they already know, they already like, they already trust you. So because you don't need to reacquire them, that actually means more money for ads and inventory or in your pocket, just whenever they repurchase from your brand. Existing customers are also more likely to refer other people to your brand. Because how many times have you met an Apple user that roasts people with green text? Probably a lot. I definitely do it myself. And loyal customers are way more likely to leave positive reviews. And this is the type of stuff that helps your brand's reputation. So what does this actually mean for your paid ads? Now, there's a few key benefits here. So number one, you're just going to get way better ROI on your marketing. So let's imagine if every customer that you acquire spends $150 with your business instead of $50. If your customer acquisition cost or your CAC is $30, let's have these two scenarios here. So business A, business B. If your CAC is $30 on both sides, but your customer lifetime value is $50 versus $120, I personally don't do maths in public, so let's simplify it. 50 minus 30 equals $20 profit. Versus for business B, who have a high customer lifetime value, $150 minus $30 is equal to $120 in profit. You literally make 6 times more profit per customer. Now, if you're business B, do you really care if you need to spend $50 to acquire a new customer? If you need to spend $75 to acquire a new customer? If you need to spend $120 to acquire a new customer? Probably not, right? Because even if your CAC is $120, in this exact scenario, you will still be making 50% more profit than if you had a low customer lifetime value. And this is exactly how you scale your paid ads. But two, you now also have just better data to find your best customers. Because if you have a bigger database of loyal, raving customers, this is going to help you create a lookalike audience of your best customers. So what would your business look like if you could actually hunt for your top 5% of customers that over 30% of your revenue comes from? So more data equals better decisions. That's 100% true. But high quality data equals high quality decisions. And three, when your winners hit, they actually just start to hit harder. Because if you're an e-com, you've probably experienced an ad that literally just popped. It might have been the angle, it might have been the creative, maybe the copy was just super on point. But regardless, you just want to milk this ad for everything that it's got. And a higher customer lifetime value is just going to let you do exactly that. So imagine if you didn't need to spend hours re-recording new creatives, finding new angles, writing new copy, and this allows you to just focus on other areas of your business. Imagine if your winning ads were actually more profitable and drove even better returns. And imagine if you could allocate more budget to scaling these winning ads and literally just amplify the success of each ad. And imagine if your ads continue to perform well over a longer period of time and reduces the need for you to constantly be testing and making adjustments. Might look good for your business. I don't know. So now the numbers line up. All right. So how do you actually start to improve customer retention in your own brand? So there's 8 key pillars for customer retention, which we'll quickly go over, which is firstly, obviously your products, they can't suck. Number 2 is personalization. You want to use customer data to actually talk to your customers more personally, right? Talk to them about things relevant actually to that customer. Number 3 is engagement. So you do want to maintain regular interaction to keep your customers interested. Number 4 is loyalty programs. So you want to actually reward your customers for being a customer with your business. Number 5 is customer feedback. So you do want to collect and act on feedback to improve products, improve your services, and just your overall customer experience. Number 7 is community building. You actually want your customers to feel like they're a part of your community. You want them to rep your brand real proud. And number 8, which is lastly, consistency, right? You just want to maintain consistent, valuable, and entertaining messaging just to build trust over time. Basically, you just have to exist really hard in front of your existing customers on as many channels as possible. So email is literally the most effective tool to execute on every single pillar of customer retention, because you don't actually want to spend your ad dollars on retaining your customers. That's actually very expensive and inefficient. Paid ads is way more effective to getting new customers. And in fact, if you tried to retarget your existing customers on these top of funnel channels like Instagram, Facebook, Meta, whatever, it feels super impersonal, right? Like customers, again, they already know, they already like, they already trust you. So why are you communicating to them on these channels? Imagine texting your partner on like Hinge or like Tinder or a dating app or whatever, instead of just shooting them a message on their phone, right? Like your partner's probably going to be like, the heck? Right, so just keep your comms fun, keep them personal with your customers, and literally just slide into their inbox, but via email. Email marketing also has a 36x ROI, right? And this is because, again, customers obviously spend more, they buy more frequently from you, but there's also other factors. So one of the main is, but there's also a lot of other factors. So this is because you can use email marketing to send tailored messages to your customers based on their preferences and their purchase history. You can use email marketing to actually nurture your customers, both your new and existing customers, with the info they need to actually purchase from your brand. You can set up automated emails like welcome flows, abandoned cart reminders, and you can just regularly send your subscribers deals, early access to new products, and just content to keep them actually engaged and interested with your business. So in summary, the e-com landscape, it's changed, right? Acquiring new customers, it's now way more competitive and a lot more expensive. And this creates a silent killer of brands, which is one-time purchases. Customer retention should now absolutely be a focus for your brand. Your existing customers, they spend more, they buy more frequently, and this improves your customer lifetime value. And now because you have a higher customer lifetime value, you now have a lot better ROI on your marketing. You now have harder hitting winners that perform over a longer period of time, and you now have the resources to actually spend much more aggressively on your paid ads. And lastly, the simplest, most efficient, and most effective way to improve your customer retention is through email marketing. So here are some actions that you can take from this video. Literally after you watch this video, I want you to go do these 3 things, which is firstly, have a look in your Shopify and understand how many of your customers purchase once and then just leave forever, right? Figure out what your actual return customer rate is. Next, I want you to grab a piece of paper and I want you to write 2 things, which is 1, what are some reasons why a person would repurchase from your brand? And what are a couple of reasons why a person wouldn't repurchase from your brand? Then lastly, have a look at your current email marketing strategy, if you have any. Do your emails address the reasons that you just wrote down? And if not, it's time to get to writing some emails. So, too long, if you didn't watch, get your customer retention down. I should probably say get your customer retention up. And then you can scale your paid ads infinitely. So, if you enjoyed this video and you learned something new, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing a lot of these videos every single week. Leave a comment below as well if this helped you, if you have any questions for me. Follow me on Twitter as well, which I'll link in the description, which is Twitter. I am Rambo Flow. And just some resources that can help you, which I'm going to leave in this doc. And this doc is going to be in the video description. So again, hope this helped. Hope you learned something new. Subscribe to the channel and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.